Hi, this is Billy Ariel. I'm here in the Resistance Studio with a few of the team members here, coming to give you this news so you can stay informed about what is going on. We now have a list of the 40 airports that will be closing starting tomorrow. You will not be able to fly in, nor will you be able to fly out of those airports effective tomorrow. The airports are as listed: Anchorage International, Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta, Anchorage, of course, in Alaska, Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia, Boston Logan International, of course, that would be in Boston, Baltimore Washington International, which we believe is in Virginia, I believe it is. Charlotte Douglas International, Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International, Dallas Love Reagan Washington National, which is in Virginia, Denver International, of course, in Denver, Dallas Fort Worth International, Texas, Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County, Detroit, Newark Liberty International, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International, Florida, Honolulu International, Hawaii, Houston Hobby, Texas, Washington Dulles International, Virginia, George Bush Houston Intercontinental, that's in Texas, Indianapolis International, New York John F. Kennedy International, New York, Las Vegas Harry Reid International, Vegas, LAX, Los Angeles, California, New York LaGuardia, Self-Explanatory, New York, Orlando International, Florida, Chicago Midway, Chicago, Memphis International, Miami International, Florida, Minneapolis, St. Paul International, Minnesota, Oakland International, California, Ontario International, believing that would be, of course, Canada, Chicago O'Hare International, Chicago, Portland International, uh, Oregon, Philly International, self-explanatory, Phoenix Sky Harbor International, Arizona, San Diego International, Cali, California, Louisville International, self-explanatory, um, Seattle Tacoma International, Washington State, San Francisco International, self-explanatory, Salt Lake City International, self-explanatory, one called Teterboro, not really sure where that is, but if you do know where it is, please put it in the comment section for those who may not know, including myself. Tampa International, which is in Florida. Now, FAA Administrator Brian Bradford announced Wednesday that the agency was taking the extraordinary step of reducing flight capacity by 10% across 40 high traffic areas in the country. That means no one going out and no one going in. The plan is to begin the flight reductions on Friday at 4% before eventually increasing the cuts to 10% by November 14th, according to the DOT release. After Friday, the reductions will ramp up to 6% by November 11th and 8% by November 13th. And I guess it will continue to go on as long as this staged New World Order shutdown continues, whereas no one will be able to go anywhere for Thanksgiving. Now, people, you need to understand that this means you will not be able to fly anywhere, going in or going out. Eventually, it's going to affect the train workers. And you may say, well, how can that be? Amtrak is a private-owned company. But eventually, it will trickle down to them some way, somehow. They will find some way to not have the trains running, and then the trains will stop, and then they'll find some way to not have Greyhound running, and then Greyhound will stop, and then the only way that you'll be able to get around is by car, and probably by that time gas prices will rise and you probably won't even be able to afford to go anywhere. That is one of the main goals that we believe that the elite are trying to bring forth, not having anyone to go anywhere, especially for holidays like Thanksgiving. And if the shutdown goes into December, holidays like Christmas. There is some reason why they don't want people to go anywhere and why they're keeping this shutdown on as long as they are keeping it. One of the reasons we believe is because they are keeping it down until they get this digital ID system up and running, and which, of course, that would include the digital currency and a social credit system. And then once those are up and running and functional, then they want to reopen the government, and everybody is going to have to be signing up to get it. And if they don't, then they won't be able to function in society. That's our personal belief as to why they're keeping the shutdown the way it is. And when they do open the government with these social credit systems and digital currency, digital ID systems, which will also include the universal basic income, then that's when the airport workers will go back to work, because the airport workers will only be allowed to go back to work if they accept the digital ID. And of course the digital currency that will come soon after. And then when you want to go to the airport to fly anywhere, you're going to only be able to fly unless you show that digital ID. So this is what we think that they are trying to get in place. They're trying to get these systems in place before they reopen the government. And this is why it is still closed. This is why they're closing down the airports, because people are talking about leaving America and going elsewhere, going to South America, going to other places where the digital ID is not in existence. And so they don't want people to leave. They want people to stay where they are and get ready to face what they are going to bring in front of people's faces. So in order to do that, they have to close down the airports. Now, some people are saying that this is not going to affect international flights. I find that very hard to believe, unless I hear the devil who's in the White House and the cheater known as J.D. Vance in the White House, or any one of their puppets saying that, then that's when I and the team will believe that. Otherwise, we do believe that it will affect international flights. No one will be able to fly out internationally or come in internationally. Now, this is also going to affect the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade, because a lot of the bands that are going to be going to New York to be in the parade, they're going to be going by flight. And if the flights are canceled, how are they going to get there? Which means what will probably happen is that on Thanksgiving Day, you will see a play of an old Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade program. It won't be anything live, because how could they be live unless they all go by ground? I mean, that's a lot of bands, a lot of people to go way across country to New York, because they're coming from other states to New York to be in the parade. Coming by Amtrak and Greyhound, that's going to be really challenging. I don't see that happening. I and the team, we have been in a lot of parades before, and we know that when we have been asked to be in parades, we have gone by airplane. We've never been, suggested to catch the Amtrak or the bus, and we've heard other bands when they travel from one state to another to be in a parade, they usually do it by plane, not by bus, not by train, certainly not by car, unless they're like right in the vicinity of where the parade is. If in regards to Macy's Day Parade, that's happening in New York, if they live in New Jersey, then they might take a bus, because New Jersey to New York is right there. But coming from California, from Alabama, from Florida, they would take a plane, which means if the planes and the airports are non-functional, how are they going to get there? More than likely, they won't. More than likely, you are going to see a old program airing of the Macy's Day Parade, and they'll make it look like it's absolutely new, but it won't be. So basically, Thanksgiving is canceled, people. Unless all of your family members lives right in the state and or city where you are, you can hang up Thanksgiving. As far as having it in the way of how we always remember having it, going home for Thanksgiving, getting on a plane, or even driving. You could do driving, but who would really want to do that with gas prices soaring up high? And then if they live way across the country, driving is a lot of work, because that's a lot of time. So for the most part, people take the plane. But since the planes are going to stop and it doesn't look like this shutdown is going to end anytime soon, um, you're not going home for Thanksgiving. You're not going home for Thanksgiving. And for those who are on SNAP, they're not going to have a Thanksgiving, because they don't have the money to buy the dinner to have a Thanksgiving. So we're looking at a lot of families having crackers and cheese for Thanksgiving, or having bologna sandwiches with just, if they're by themselves, or with If they're with their immediate family members, their husbands, their wives, their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their fiancés, their children, that's it. Thanksgiving is done. And this is all coming from the powers that be. And we believe this is going to continue even until December, which means Christmas is cooked too. Not the buying part, but the part of just going home to be with family, the Christmas tree, all of that, that's done because thousands, if not millions, of people have been fired. So they're not going to be able to buy a Christmas tree, put up the lights, do all of that. All of that is done. These two holidays are done. My only thing we had to look forward to now was New Year's. And really, for those who are weak enough to do this, drinking away on miseries in New Year's. That's it. I mean, we're just keeping it 100 with you. That's what the only thing is to look forward to. And the new year, which will probably be more worse than this year, seeing as how we had that nut in the White House. So, um, this is what we want to let you know. Three Eye Atlas, thank the gods that it was not the doomsday thing that we all were thinking that it was going to be, because we all did think, hey, maybe this could be the gods returning. But thank the gods it's not, because if it was, a lot of people out there would not be ready for that. We would be ready either way because we have already prepared ourselves, but a lot of people wouldn't be ready. And we were hoping that it wasn't the big bad for a lot of people out there who are not ready. So thank the gods that that is not the big bad. It has passed Earth and is going elsewhere. So thank the gods for that. But there is going to come a time when the gods will return, and that is not a opinion or conspiracy. That's definitely going to happen. It's going to happen between now and 2030. That is a given. But we're glad that Three Eye Atlas wasn't the thing that was going to allow that to happen right now, because I'm telling you, a lot of people would be lost. Three Eye Atlas had it turned out to be the capsule carrying the gods returning. A lot of people would have been lost, and we were hoping that it wasn't the capsule that would be carrying the return of the deities, because again, we know a lot of people out there aren't ready. And so, this gives everyone a little bit more time to get themselves together spiritually. So when the time does come for the deities to return and tear things up, you'll be ready. So putting that aside, people, Thanksgiving and Christmas have been canceled. I don't care what silicone-breasted Mariah Carey says, Christmas and Thanksgiving are canceled. The best thing to do is do not even attempt to try to go to a smaller airport and get on a plane. We would not recommend anyone trying to find a way to fly anywhere at any airport that will remain open, because again, there's no one guarding the towers. There's no one guiding the planes. We just heard of a plane crashing, a UPS plane crashing um, earlier this week, and wholeheartedly we believe it was because of the fact that no one's in the towers, and there have been so many reports of problems with planes taking off because of no one being in the towers, no one really guiding the planes, and you get on a plane and the plane crashes, and that would be something that the elite would want on purpose. So we wouldn't be surprised if you got on a plane and the plane crashed on purpose, because then that's more ammo that nutcase in the White House can use. As you see, this is why the shutdown is down, knowing damn well he has no intentions of ending it, and neither does the Republicans or the Democrats, but they're just using that as ammo. So we're telling you, now is not the time to get on the plane right now, because it is very unstable. TSA agents are scarce right now. So really, if someone wanted to, not saying someone would, and hopefully no one would, but if someone sick and deranged wanted to, they could actually do a 9/11 on another plane. Because TSA is not there, the TSA agents, they're not there because they're not working for free. This is why it is so dangerous to get on a plane right now. Do not get on a plane if you can't take Amtrak, take Greyhound. If you can't take Greyhound, drive. And if you can't drive because it's hundreds of miles away, then just stay where you are because um, he's not going to relent. They are not going to relent. The powers that be, they're not going to relent anytime soon. This government is not opening any more this year at all, unless some divine spiritual intervention happens, which we doubt it is not going to happen. So the way we're seeing it, unless a divine intervention happens, this government is closed for the rest of the year and is only going to get worse. Things are going to accumulate with what's going to be taken away. Right now, for those who are on SNAP, is SNAP. After a while, it's going to be Medicaid and Medicare. Then it's going to be Social Security. Then it's going to trickle down to even the private employees, such as Greyhound, such as Amtrak, such as the post office. Then it's going to trickle down to other things. If this shutdown continues on and during the rest of this month and in December, and even if it trickles on into January, things are going to get a lot worse. And this is what you need to take notice of. Don't let anything else distract you from that. Nothing. I don't care if it's Epstein's been resurrected from the dead. Diddy gets stabbed in jail. I don't care what it is. Don't let anyone distract you from what is going on, which is if this shutdown continues the rest of November, December, and on into January, things are going to get much worse. And so much more is going to be taken from people. Gas prices are going to go up. Whereas you're not going to even be able to afford it because you're going to be spending $10, $15 on gas. I mean, just for just half a tank, just for a little bit of gas. It's going to get like that if you don't think it will. Think again, this shutdown, if it continues, has the abilities to make things hellish everywhere. So keep watching the news. And when we say the news, we're talking about the alternative news. Mostly you'll find that on TikTok, the alternative news. You'll find people telling you what you won't hear on the mainstream news about what's happening with the shutdown. Pay attention to that. Keep abreast of what's going on so you'll know, so that you can know what to do, how to do, and how to prepare. So, this is what we wanted to say. We're here bringing you the facts, the knowledge, and the truth, the facts, and the knowledge, because knowledge obtained is power gained. And if you do not use the knowledge which will give you the power, then you will ultimately abuse the power that you could have had and you'll be lost. And you don't want to do that. So this is Billy RL, real life, signing off.